The HBO television series Watchmen has just been nominated for 26 Primetime Emmy Awards, which is more than any other show in the 2019 television season. What is it about this DC Comics source show that makes it so relevant and groundbreaking?
Welcome back to Comic Power. I'm your host, Comic Killer 72. Welcome to another episode of The Quick Flip. This is the program where I go over comic book industry news in a short period of time. Please subscribe to this channel and also click on the notification bell as well. It will remind you when new videos come out. Alright, now let's get right into it.
Watchmen was first published as a 12-part miniseries from DC from 1986. This is from the British writer Alan Moore, where he does a deconstruction of the superhero genre. It was developed into a film in 2008 by Zack Snyder, and it's very good. The television show was supposed to be taking place 34 years after the events in the comics. From what I'm hearing, it may be this show's first and only season, and it goes on for 9 episodes. It's a very talented cast led by Oscar winner Regina King. Her husband is played by Yahya Abdul, who plays Black Manta in Aquaman. Tim Blake Nelson, best known for Brother Where Art Thou. Don Johnson, yes, best known for playing in Miami Vice Don Johnson. And Lou Gossett Jr., another Oscar winner from Officer and a Gentleman back in the 1980s. And Jeremy Irons plays a strange role, which ties it back to the 1986 Watchmen the most. And there's original music made by Trent Reznor, and it's rated R in terms of material, especially the violence. There's plenty of it to go around. The show was basically taking place in modern day Tulsa, Oklahoma in 2019 in a white supremacist group called the Seventh Kalvary that's inspired by Rorschach from the Watchmen events that happened in 1986, takes up arms and declares war against the police. And in 2019, on Christmas Eve, they launched a terrorist event that they called the White Night, where they go to the houses of all the police officers and try to kill them. All the police officers in the Tulsa Police Department are killed, except for the characters played by Regina King and Don Johnson. The police department has to be built up from the ground up, but they decide to wear masks to protect their identity. But most of them go beyond that, and it turns into some real superhero-looking uniforms. Regina King's character stays on the force, and she calls herself Sister Knight, and she looks like this. In this ongoing battle against this terrorist organization, the police department winds up suspending the 4th, 6th, and 8th Amendment to the Constitution. And they perform acts of torture during interrogations. So it looks no different than the CIA handling Al-Qaeda suspects in the early 2000s. And that's a big part of the theme of the show, being that these terrorists from the Seventh Kalvary are very, very bad people. But how far does law enforcement have to go to suspend the rights of the Constitution under the guise of fighting terrorists? As a subplot, the show also uses the very real Tulsa race massacre, which was homegrown terrorism, that took place in May 31st and June 1st of 1921, where black citizens were basically massacred by white terrorists. They even used airplanes to bomb this place. It's the worst incident of racial violence in American history. They don't teach you this in school. They should. You can't look away. It actually happened. The main streets that were destroyed in this black community were Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. If you didn't know, the R&B group called the Gap Band, this is where they get their name from. Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. Gap Band. The band was formed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so they named their band in honor of Black Wall Street. So when this man decided to host a rally with his history of racism in Tulsa, Oklahoma, almost 99 years to the day of the assault on Black Wall Street, this is why this action is so offensive. Of all the places they could have picked, Tulsa, Oklahoma, on Juneteenth weekend. So I was actually glad to see that hardly anyone showed up for it. So although Watchmen is fiction, it has a lot of fact of American history woven within this fiction. It asks the tough questions about how America is willing to deal with race, homegrown terror, and police overreach. Regina King gives an outstanding performance as Sister Knight. She got her start as a child actress in the TV show 227. Look at that 80s hair. She also co-starred in Boys in the Hood, which was nominated for an Oscar. Jerry Maguire, which won an Oscar. Ray, which also won an Oscar, and she won an Oscar herself for Best Supporting Actress in If Beale Street Could Talk in 2018. This is a shot from the movie, which is nothing but black girl magic, and all of them are getting a chance to play superheroes now. Regina King on the right, who's playing Sister Knight in Watchmen, which we're talking about. In the middle is Kiki Lane, who plays Now in The Old Guard, and she's my #1 pick for Storm when they recast that character. And on the left is Teyonah Parris, who's been confirmed for the MCU. She's going to play the adult version of Monica Rambeau. That's the little girl you saw in Captain Marvel. Tiona's going to play the adult version, and she's going to become Spectrum, the superhero, soon. She's going to appear in WandaVision before she gets powers, though. So, to recap, Watchmen was a fantastic series on HBO. It's nominated for 26 Emmys. Regina King is excellent, and you should definitely be seeing this if you missed it. The questions it was asking about race and police overreach in 2019, to the protests that erupted after the death of George Floyd at the hands of the police, and of course Trump sending in his unconstitutional secret police in an attempt to crush dissent. The fiction of Watchmen's 2019 is becoming the fact of the real world in 2020 in America. Next up is the new Comic Day Pick of the Week. Yes! For August 5th, 2020, let's do the runner-ups first. Let's start with Bad Mother #1 from Artists, Writers, and Artisans Incorporated, a new publisher. This is from crime writer Krista Faust and is drawn by artist Mike Deodato Jr. It's the story of a suburban soccer mom whose teenage daughter winds up going missing. So she takes the law and very big guns into her own hands to try to find her daughter, and she runs into a massive crime syndicate along the way. That sounds incredibly interesting. I'll have not just one, but 2 scoops of this. And don't forget about DC's Far Sector. This is issue number 7 of a 12-part miniseries introducing a new Green Lantern who's a black female. And the character appears to be inspired by the real-world musician and actress Janelle Monáe, who's known for her thing of Afrofuturism. So the pick of the week is Giant Size X-Men Phantom X #1 from Marvel Comics. I've always liked this character. Jonathan Hickman is writing this story. And the character is tied to the Weapon Plus program that gave enhancements to Wolverine, Sabretooth, and others. Based on the nature of the character, I think it would be pretty cool for him to pop up in a Deadpool live action movie one day as a competing mercenary against Wade Wilson. Now that would be pretty cool. The character is a creation of Grant Morrison and made his first appearance in 2002 in a cameo in New X-Men #128 and his first full appearance in issue 129.
You know the drill. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, and share these videos on social media so other people learn about the channel. And don't forget, I do sell comics at my eBay page listed here with a link in the description. One Stop Thrift and Comic Power are run by the same guy. That would be me, Comic Killer 72. I have 100% feedback, by the way. And once again, thank you to my subscribers and viewers who support Comic Power. Until next time, this is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye.